Now, we've heard from policymakers and industry leaders about how they're driving the global energy transition. But global ambitions need local solutions. And according to World Energy Council's Dr. Angela Wilkinson, energy is a system behind every button, switch and fuel pump is a myriad of connections and interactions. But she says there is no free or one-size-fits-all solution. And Sarah Al-Khaldi joins us live now from the Singapore International Energy Week. Sarah?
Yeah, Shano, amid this focus on technologies, funding, and regional cooperation, we shift the focus now to the need to humanize the energy transition with Dr. Angela Wilkinson, Secretary General and CEO at the World Energy Council. Dr. Angela, thanks for joining us. And you put a lot of focus on the need to humanize energy to achieve this clean and just energy transition. Could you tell us more about what you mean by humanizing energy?
I certainly can, Sarah. Thanks for having me. We tend to talk, when we talk about energy transition, in terms of trillions of dollars or gigatonnes of carbon or megawatt hours of electricity, and it goes right over people's heads. What we really need to know is the number that really makes a difference is hundreds of thousands of smaller steps involving people and communities who are users of energy everywhere in the world. We want a useful energy transition, and that means we need to humanize it. People need to understand their roles and choices, and they need to understand how to play their part. So, humanizing energy.
Yeah, a lot of the talk that we get when we talk about this green energy transition focuses on funding, on the technology, but you've also said previously that it's not just about throwing money at the problem. So what should government and other stakeholders focus on?
So, first of all, there are multiple energy transitions happening in this era of energy transition for people and planet, right? And before we can go from where we are, a spectrum of a rainbow of energy, to all green, we're going to have to think about those different pathways and how they enable people to live better lives, have better jobs and livelihoods. So we have to turn our thinking away around from thinking about the supply of energy to thinking about demand-driven solutions.
What are these demand-driven solutions out there? Because we hear a lot about how Asia accounts for so much of the energy demand, almost half, and talk about the growth up ahead for demand in this region. So if we can put solutions from the demand perspective, what would they be?
Well, first of all, you start off by asking people how are they using energy in their lives, and if they had more energy, where would that energy add most value to their lives? And then you start thinking about, if that's the value add, how do I make that affordable? What does that mean about the cost of energy that we're providing? So you change it from a conversation about price to a conversation about value, and then you work out what's affordable in the middle. So if I take Europe, for example, we're in a European energy security crisis situation. I mean, who would have believed a few years ago that women in the UK would be choosing between heating or washing their children, right? That is a similar situation that's faced by billions of people across the world. We know that it's not enough just to provide the basic electricity connection, because that might give you enough electricity for lighting or for television watching, but we also need energy for heating, for cooking, for vaccine storage, and so people want quality energy access. So let's start with a conversation around demand. What's the value of energy for people that they are looking for? And then what does that mean about the system that needs to supply it?
A lot of the talk in this transition is mostly on high-level governments. And how do we then include people on the ground in different communities and other people who can contribute to this massive task?
So we have a call to action across all our members. So we operate in 100 countries. We've operated for 100 years. And we are an organisation that brings the role of communities to the table. So countries, companies and communities need to be at the decision-making table. So we work with cities, we're working with regions and communities, and we're asking them, what does clean and just energy transition mean to you? What do you understand by the choices it presents? What do you see as the benefits, and how will you play your part? It's hundreds of thousands of smaller steps, not just a big conversation about technology and money at 45,000 feet.
Mm-hmm. And what has been the response here in Asia so far to this push to humanize energy?
I think it resonates strongly because there's a great sense in this part of the world that it's really about useful energy. It's not about the cheapest energy, it's not about the most expensive energy, it's about what's useful, affordable, clean and reliable. And I think humanising energy ensures that we connect the dots between clean, affordable, reliable and sustainable, rather than just trying to think about one of those and risking crisis in the others.
Yeah, and how optimistic are you in the path ahead? Yesterday we heard from Dr. Fatih Birol of the IEA, and he says he is optimistic that we will come out of this energy crisis with more secure and sustainable energy systems in the work that you do and on your work on the ground. How optimistic are you that we are seeing the right momentum to move forward?
Oh, well, there's absolutely no doubt that we need to increase pace if we really want to ensure the future of humanity, 10 billion better lives on a healthy planet by 2050 is a significant ambition. Mm-hmm. But if we want to move faster, we've also got to move fairly and we've got to move together. And so I'm neither optimistic or pessimistic. I'm a realistic hoper. And realistic hoper is about humanising energy action now.
Yeah, and when you take a look at what we are seeing on the ground and the options that are available, a lot of the focus has been on energy security versus really helping the environment. What are your thoughts on that? That it's energy security and price affordability that's driving players to action.
Well, 20 years ago we introduced something called the World Energy Trilemma Framework, to enable people to understand that energy transition is a process, not a destination, and it never ends. Net zero is a milestone. It's not the final piece, right? We want to go towards a future of 10 billion better lives, one healthy planet, and we need to navigate as we go. So the trilemma helps us to understand that we've got to manage energy security and affordability and equity and environmental sustainability, not just decarbonisation, but also land, water and forests. And it gives us a framework to help understand which of those options are useful trilemma solutions and which of those might look attractive, but actually might help us create risks as we go along rather than manage the change ahead.
Thank you so much for your insights on this crucial topic, Dr. Angela Wilkinson, their Secretary General and CEO at the World Energy Council.